Well, I haven't gotten a lot done since the last video, but figured I'd at least show what I have done. Well, at least talk about it, because I don't know if I can actually show it. So, I found brake lines that work. I think these are 18-inch, 45-degree Fragola, I believe. I can't show you how it works because the car's not jacked up, but I can assure you it moves freely and doesn't bind and doesn't rub on things. At full turn to the right, pushing this as far that way as I can, this coil comes over and like brushes against the top of this coil over just slightly. Not enough to where it can get in any danger of being interfering with the shock. And when it's at full left turn, as far away as possible, it's very slightly against this upper control arm with plenty of slack to move around still. And I'm guessing once the motor has, added the weight of the front end, this won't even touch the upper control arm because the upper control arm will be raised more. But anyways, so I went around and torqued all my brake lines, minus these up here at my master cylinders. I'm about to make a screw up leaning on this damn thing I just painted. So I went around and actually finally found a torque spec, because I was paranoid as far as tightening these. Because the one thing I didn't think about was that these are aluminum bulkheads, and a bunch of these fittings are stainless, or this one here is like just a zinc steel, whatever. But a bunch of these fittings are, steel onto aluminum, and I felt a little sketch tightening down on I wasn't sure exactly how tight you could go. I know with like your brass brake flares, they're kind of like a pipe thread. It feels like you can feel it start to snug up, and you can, if it leaks ever slightly, you could just tighten down just a little bit more. Which I guess you do the same thing with these AN fittings, but I guess I was real sketched as to how much you tighten these down. I was really paranoid of stripping out these threads. So I grabbed a 45 and one of my doo-doo brake lines that had an aluminum fitting, and put it in the vise and went to tightening. And I tightened it down as tight as I felt comfortable with a wrench. Then I looked at the torque spec, which, if anyone's curious, it's 70 to 105 inch-pounds. And in case you're wondering how the hell you're supposed to use a torque wrench on something like this, you have to use a crow's foot. And before you go blasting in the comments about how leverage, inertia over torque gain and loss over the extension, or subtraction of length of the torque wrench, all you have to do is put this thing at a perfect 90 of the wrench. So wrench is this way, put the crow's foot, perfect 90, and you're good. If you were to put it forward, you would add more leverage, and it would be applying more torque to whatever you're tightening than what the wrench is set to, in reverse if it's this way. So I set it to the lowest setting, which was 70 inch-pounds, and tried to loosen it, and it just broke free with no effort whatsoever. Didn't click the wrench, nothing. So I was like, holy crap. So I was way under what I thought. So I set it back to 7, or I left it at 70, tightened it down, and it tightened down a good bit. So then I just kind of was curious. I was like, well, let's see what effort it takes to strip these out. I worked my way all the way up to 105 inch-pounds, and it still didn't strip it. The only thing it did do was eat into the beveled or the flanged, whatever, tip of the AN fitting. That little angled 37-degree flare, whatever. It just dug into that more. It didn't risk the threads at all. So the way I see it is I'm going to tighten all these to 80 inch-pounds. And if I find any leaks, I'll just snug a hair until it stops, or until I strip the threads. Anyways, so these up here, I don't remember if I showed these or not. I got these installed, and yeah, I believe I did talk about these in the last one. But so the brake fitting comes out the back, and originally I was trying to think of ways to make this work, like using these. If I can show. So that is a 45 degree right here and a 90 right there. And all it is a male on one end and a female on the other. And I thought I was gonna have to use something like that to adapt it to allow those lines to fit. Well, that's a lot of extra fittings and worried about leaks and more things to torque, and not to mention it's like putting a surge protector plugged into an extension cord plugged into another surge protector, and it looks like shit in my opinion. So luckily Earl's makes some hose, some stainless line, or stainless hose, and stainless braided line, should I say, and some fittings that are self-assembled that are rated for brake. The downside is that shit's expensive as the fuck. So the hose itself is about $5 a foot. The fittings are like anywhere from $10 to $40. And they do make 180s, which go whoop and down. And those are the $40 a piece ones. I need 3 of them. So those are gonna have to wait till payday. Like next 3 paydays. Because I've already got other things money are set to. But yeah, so I'll be making my brake lines for up here to go to my master cylinders, and then I can start testing my system for leaks. I won't be able to do the clutch till I get the transmission in, and I also still have to fabricate a bracket for the master or the slave cylinder for it. Don't know what I'm gonna do with that exactly yet, but figure something out. This fender, as you can see, got some spray paint on here just to keep it from rusting. And I went ahead and threw some rust encapsulator across this lip where the fender sits, just to coat over these to keep them from rusting, because it seems like they want to rust up like crazy. No one makes stainless of these. They have like zinc coated ones, I guess, but I don't know. I guess I could go with the zinc ones. And of course they want to scratch up when you slide them on the fender well, or the inner fenders. You can see where it's scratched through the primer. Anyways, I don't know what you can really do with that other than like take a credit card or something and slip in place to slide it on and then pull the credit card out. I might be able to try that. But anyways, so I worked on fender gap today and I got it where I'm comfy with, or where I like it. I had, in the last video I talked about a gap down here at the bottom. I fixed that. I threw some welding rod up against it, we'll pretend this door is the fender. Put a welding rod along it and tacked all the way down. And I went on the back side and tacked all the way down, essentially extending it 1/8 of an inch. And then I went back with a die grinder for hours and ground away at it and smoothed it out on the outside and the inside. Then I put it back on the car and I did my trick like I said before, where I run the die grinder along the side here and just gave a nice paint stick gap. Oh, and the other thing I did before I did all that, I used this fancy thing and flared the lip of my fender. And this is some Amazon ching chong bing bong junk, but it works, sort of. It's a pain in the ass, but made it happen. And I just like to stare at these wheels every once in a while. Just think they're so pretty, so pretty. But anyways, so here's the fender. Here's the rolled lip, if you can even make it out. I can't even see it. Let's see if I can get my light to click on. There we go. You can see how narrow it gets towards the top. Yeah, there's the lip. And it actually kind of rolls in steps. It comes out and it kind of angles down right here, and then you have another flat on the inside. I'm probably gonna go back and kind of massage this down a little more with a rubber mallet, or maybe lay it on some wood and roll that roller across it. But I did the same thing here. I just coated the edge with some paint to keep it from rusting until I can throw some epoxy primer on it. But tomorrow, I guess I'm gonna work on this side. I don't think this one's as bad. I don't think. I might end up having to do a lot of what I did today to this side. I don't remember. but I'll end up doing the same thing with the door and the fender, where I'll just throw some paint on it. Oh, also weld this thing back on the other one. By the way, so this copper weld through weldable primer is probably the best type there is, and it still sucks. This is shit. I cannot stand weld through primer. Like you'll fill it in and it'll be beautiful, nice, smooth, flat spot weld that you think's perfect, and then it gasses up that paint on the backside and blows it all out on your face. I got burned repeatedly today from shit like that. So I'll be grinding the area I weld off and just leaving that around the rest of it. All right, I'll wrap this up. Oh, so another fun bit. I don't remember if I talked about it, but my gauge cluster setup I'm rolling with. I'm doing all the brushed aluminum interior, like the 67 Deluxe. So it won't be obviously period correct as if the rest of the car was, you know, factory restored anyways. But so brushed aluminum. I have automated cobalt gauges. I was planning on actually messing with it some today. And so the first time I ordered my gauges, the very first gauge I bought, I got a deal on off eBay, and it came in, and I didn't think anything of it until I ordered my last gauge, which was my Speedo. And the Speedo and the tack were supposed to be 5-inch. But when I put the Speedo up next to the tack, I realized the tack was not a 5-inch, which is what I ordered and paid for on eBay. The guy sent me like the 3 5/8 size gauge or whatever. And of course, they didn't want to reply back to the email. It had been like 4 or 5 months since I bought the damn thing anyways. I should have measured it. Lesson learned. Sold it recently. Bought the correct size. It came in. Measured it this time. Gave feedback. Well, I went to pull it all out today and realized that I had 2 freaking Speedos. The dude that I bought from this time sent me a freaking Speedo. So apparently the Cobalt 5-inch tack is just cursed. I can't get one. So I'm waiting on them to reply. I had to open an eBay case. The downside is I already left feedback, and he has it listed that he doesn't take returns. So I might have to sell a 5-inch Speedo now. But I think I'm gonna make a video of what it takes to install the autometer gauges into a cluster. I found some write-ups, some forums. They're fairly decent with pictures, but it's not the best. So I might actually make a video of making that. At least bits and pieces of making it. Do little clips showing what I'm doing, what needs to be done. At least, you know, piece together some pictures in the video, and then some little video clips, etc. You get the picture, get the idea. But anyways, that's it for now. Oh, my fuel tank. It ought to be done like real soon. I went and checked it out. He's gonna make a couple of modifications to it and finish welding up, and it'll be good to go. So I'm excited about that. I'll have my all aluminum fuel tank soon. And I don't remember if I quoted the price in the video before, but if someone was wanting to get one similar or get an exact replica of what I'm having made, it will not be the price I quoted before if I did quote it. I don't recall, but I want to say I paid around 500-ish, 550, but apparently what all entailed for what I wanted in it, he kind of underbid it because it was a lot more work than what he originally thought, at least with all the mods that I've added on. But thankfully he's not been trying to hit me up for more money since I keep wanting to change things. But anyways, I'll show you that whenever it comes in and show you what the inside is gonna look, what it looks like, etc., how the baffle setup is, so on. Motor's coming to a close end on assembly. I'm waiting on the alternator to come in, and then I just have to adjust some spacers for the power steering, and the motor will be ready to roll, I believe, as far as install, if I'm done in here, which I'm probably not. Another thing I'm looking at getting is the air conditioner heater core and coil set up for inside, so I can get that mounted up. That way, if I have to drill or do any work on the firewall, the motor's not in my way. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And like I said, hopefully I'll have some more for you next time. Later, guys.